if you fast forward through time, how do you two want to be? Do you still want to be married? Do you still want to be laughing, holding hands, flirting, and enjoying time together? That all takes work in your everyday life. This isn't like okay, I'm going to put my marriage on pause, raise the kids, and then hit unpause. It doesn't work like that. Your marriage is going to either grow closer or drift apart.
Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life and marriage? Let's dive in.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood podcast. Today we're going to be talking all about dating your husband. If you're a mom who feels like your whole world revolves around your kids, you are not alone. But today I want to lovingly challenge that idea. And I want to invite you to consider what that may be costing. Now, side note before I dive deeper, I'm not saying neglect your kids. You are an incredible mom. You have changed so much of how you live and how you do things to help your kids thrive, to do what you think is best for them, to help them have a better life than you did. What I'm saying is the commitment that you made before they entered the picture is also important. And I want you to remember that. Before your kids, your marriage was almost your everything. And without that marriage, the kids would not be here. So what I want you to remember as you listen to this episode is that your marriage is the foundation of your kids' childhood. Okay? So in my world, what I teach my clients is that there is a hierarchy. For those who are my fellow psych nerds, I studied psychology in college. There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? So the bottom is like what's most important, right? And then it moves its way up. And unless the things that are met below it, the other things we don't have the capacity for, okay? So your marriage is the foundation, but below your marriage is actually you. Your well-being, okay? So it's you, your marriage, and then your kids. So as you listen to this episode, if you are in a situation where your spouse is toxic, is abusive, this does not apply to you. In that case, your kids absolutely come first. So this episode was really designed for those who don't have that situation where they are in a healthy relationship, but maybe they're unhappy because they're lacking the skills and the tools to know how to navigate through these challenges. Okay. So your marriage came before your kids, right? So that's the order it happened in. Whether you are formally married or not, doesn't matter. I'm speaking about marriage as a commitment, a partnership, right? I'm not talking about the marriage certificate here, but you guys got together, you committed to each other in some type of way, enough for you to decide to have kids. And you said, I do. And you said, in sickness and in health until death do us part, right? What you didn't say was until we have kids do us part. So I want you to keep that in mind as you listen to the entirety of this episode, because what I've seen in my clients and what I've done even in the beginning of my marriage, was I totally let things slip after kids, right? I totally just had laser focus on my kids and kind of just shoved my husband to the side, not intentionally, not on purpose. I wasn't even aware of it. And that affected our relationship. So I want to drive that point that you committed to your husband for life, right? And that commitment matters. And while this might bring a tear to your eye, I know it does to me whenever I think about how long the days are with kids, how easy it is to just grow impatient and be so fed up with stuff. But the years truly are short. And in reference to being too busy to date your husband, we have to remember that parenting is temporary, right? This active day-to-day of raising kids, it's temporary. Like, obviously, you'll always be their parent, but the day-to-day parenting, making decisions for them, getting things ready for them, raising them, guiding them, teaching them, that is temporary. And ideally, your marriage is forever, right? That's what you went into it believing and thinking and wanting. But with our kids, one day they're going to leave. They're going to grow up into adults, lead their own lives separate from you. And so raising kids is one of the biggest challenges that your marriage will face because it will always be a competing priority. Your kids are always going to need you, and they're always going to take as much as you give to them. They're going to consistently and reliably provide you with excuses to put your marriage on the back burner. And every time you say yes to that, you are taking a leap of faith that your marriage will still be in the same condition as when you left it. But if that happens enough times without finding a way to make up for it, I guarantee you, your marriage will not be the same as when you left it. It will be worse. And the thing about how our society works is that it glorifies child-centered parenting, and it doesn't talk enough about how that negatively impacts marriages. From things like, oh, good moms sacrifice everything. They don't take care of themselves. They don't go on dates. They don't go on kid-free trips. They don't do any of that. Also, the overscheduling and over-involvement equating to responsible parenting, parents who care, to how social media amplifies the ideal of the perfect mom. I think that's all BS. For me, a perfect mom is one that cares for herself so that she has the capacity to care for her kids in the best way that she can. But if we run ourselves ragged and then we look at, okay, well, in order for me to be a quote unquote good mom, I need to do all these things, you're going to end up burning out. And then when you burn out, what do? You either yell, you get snippy, you shut down, whatever it is. Now you have just set yourself back. And then there's a thing about how dads are often seen as secondary or, quote unquote helpers. They're never just like an equal partner, at least in the way that people in society perceive them. I'm glad that that's now changing. I'm thankful that I have that, right? But there's still things, even when I have a partner who very much is involved, there are still things where I am the default parent for. And it does get tiring. And then the myth that the kids need to come first always. Prioritizing your marriage is not the same as neglecting your children. And in fact, I will say that making sure that your marriage is strong is a parenting strategy, one that gets overlooked too much. Okay? Now I want you to imagine, what would a childhood look like if the parents were fighting all the time or didn't have any connection and they were kind of just living parallel lives versus a childhood with parents who are very much connected, communicate well with each other, handle challenges together, are true partners. They respect each other. They admire each other. They adore each other. They work together really well. Which childhood would you prefer? When we prioritize our kids over our marriage, what we're unintentionally doing is starving the very relationship that built the foundation for the family and robbing our kids of what a healthy model of relationships looks like. Okay? It's a little bit of tough love, but truly, that's what's happening. And I know you're not doing it on purpose, right? It's easy to use your kids as justification to just put your marriage on hold. But there's also value to not putting your marriage on hold, to continue to develop it and nurture it, because your kids feel more secure when that foundation is rock solid. It is not selfish to prioritize your marriage. It is essential, okay? I am a mom of 3, and I know that I'm a better mom when I'm happy in my marriage. I know my husband is a better dad when me and him are good, when we're on the same page with things, when we model healthy love, respect, connection. Everybody wins. Our kids win because they now know what to expect, what standards to have. And the kids benefit from parents who like each other, who work as a team, who show affection. They benefit from all this. So your kids don't need to be the center of your world. What they actually need is to know that they're part of a loving, safe family. And that starts with the health of your marriage. So no, prioritizing your marriage does not mean neglect your children. Please care for them. But caring for them also means showing them what love and partnership look like. And social media is fantastic in the way that it connects us. It also offers us more resources to learn from people. But I want to invite you to consider, are all the things that you do to care for your kids actually things that you need to be doing? Or are you just putting so much on your plate to strive to be that quote unquote perfect mom? So as with everything, I urge you to be intentional. What kind of mom do I want to be? What are the things that are important to me? What are the values I strive to meet as a mom? And come up with different ways that you can meet those values that doesn't look like having your plate always full and never emptying, never having time to yourself, never having time for your spouse. Now let's talk about what can happen when you believe that life is too busy to connect with your husband, whether it's going outside on dates or saying in to date and doing things that really bring you two together. There is this silent drift that happens between you two. It almost seems like it comes out of nowhere, but really it's in the little decisions that you're making that build up over time, but you don't notice because, oh, kids need something. Oh, we need to be somewhere. We need to do something. And there is a cost of constantly putting your marriage on the back burner. This happens when you make assumptions that, your marriage will stay the same and that raising your kids is more important than making sure that your marriage is secure. So having that unspoken agreement of okay, well, we'll get back to us when our kids are 6 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, 18 years old. And we make that assumption that our partner will understand. We don't actually talk about it. We don't talk about, hey, what do you need to feel connected to me? How often do you feel like you need to connect with me to feel like we are still strong as a couple, right? So saying things like, oh, we'll get to it after this season of diapers, after the season of extracurriculars in sports, after the season of trying to get them to college or, whatever. There's always going to be something, right? And so that's why you and your husband need to hold strong to the vision that you are wanting to fulfill for your marriage. If you fast forward through time, how do you two want to be? Do you still want to be married? Do you still want to be laughing and holding hands and flirting and enjoying time together? That all takes work in your everyday life. This isn't like okay, I'm going to put my marriage on pause, raise the kids, and then hit unpause. It doesn't work like that, okay? Your marriage is going to either grow closer or drift apart. And so you need to make the decision as a couple on what you're willing to do to allow it to continue to grow closer. So, common patterns that I see in my clients are turning into roommates, choosing to use their phone over connecting with each other, resentment building quietly, intimacy fading, communication breaking down. You don't suddenly fall out of love, right? A lot of the people that come to me and want to work with me say, oh yeah, we just like fell out of love. No, it doesn't happen that way. You fall out of the habit with love, right? Love is a feeling, but being married is an action. It is in what we do. So staying married, yeah, on paper, that's easy. You just allow time to pass because you have that certificate. But the idea of feeling connected, that takes action, consistent action, okay? That looks like noticing that you haven't connected in a while and doing something about it. Not just letting it kind of like gloss over and then the next distraction comes in like, oh, we got to take our kids to swim practice, or oh, we got to do this, oh, we got to do that. But really making it a priority by putting it on your calendar, by having necessary conversations, getting on the same page with how often things need to happen, investing in your relationship, whether it is going on vacation together, getting a babysitter, hiring a marriage coach to help you through things that you have tried your best to work through, but you haven't seen that progress that you want. You've got to choose your marriage on purpose, right? Saying I do was the easiest part that you could have done. Staying married, staying in love, being in the habit of choosing love and being in love, that's the work, right? Yes, you're doing your best. Yes, I know you love your family deeply, but that also means making choices that feel hard in the moment. Act on what it is that you want. Act on what you feel in your heart is true to you, right? Which means you love your husband, you love your family, you want it to be strong. You have this vision for yourself come 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years together. You're going to need to take steps to ensure that. So what are you willing to do to secure that future, right? Doing these things, making these decisions, yes, it can be challenging, but it's going to pay off in the long run, okay? So my offer to you is, what if prioritizing your marriage is actually one of the best things you can do for your kids? So whether it be doing a 10-minute check-in each day, having date nights, getting help when you need it, making space for intimacy again. And if you're like, I don't want to be intimate with them, figuring out why you don't want to be intimate, what's getting in the way, and resolving those issues. Whether it be booking a clarity call with me so we can figure that out and work through it together, or journaling it out and figuring out yourself and working through it, okay? If you're realizing your marriage has been sitting in the back seat, that's okay. You're not alone. There are plenty of people like that. What matters most is, what are you going to do about that? Now that you're aware of that, what are you going to do to change that? And if you need support with that, I'd love to help. I have a free masterclass that will help you create that vision for yourself. So you have like a compass that's pointing where north is. So you know what to do to help yourself get there and offer you that clarity to help you stay on track to working towards that. So go ahead and grab that. There's a link in the show notes. And of course, if you are wanting more personalized support, book a clarity call with me. I'd love to help you. Okay? That's it for this episode. Please, if you find yourself thinking, I'm too busy to date, or find yourself wondering, when was the last time we did something just for the two of us? Do something now, okay? Have a conversation with your spouse, figure out when you're going to connect. And that's it for this episode. If you know someone that is knee deep in parenting and you're like, oh, I can see that their marriage is starting to take a hit, from the overemphasis of parenting, please send in this episode. And if you have been loving this show, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I would so appreciate that. That's what helps this show grow. That's what helps other people like you find this show. And that's it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll catch you back here on the next episode. Bye.
That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perta Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.